grief, regret, deception. The Amazing Mr. X plunges us into a world where the line between fantasy and reality blurs, where skepticism and very real danger collide in a story where nothing is what it seems. Opening with the raspy and menacing call of a ghostly voice, immediately we wonder, are we in a dream? Is this someone's nightmare? Is this a ghost story? Our woman on the beach is played by Lynn Bari, usually cast as the sophisticated bad girl or the cynical femme fatale in films like Tampico, Shock, and Orchestra Wives. Here, in the role of Christine, she's softer and more vulnerable, a widow who's struggling to move past the death of her husband, Paul. But the film hints early on that Paul may not be worth all the tears.
He did a lot of crazy things, some of them bad. But I don't think I could ever love another man the way I love Paul.
Despite this, the memory of Paul, idealized, cast a long shadow over Christine's life.
Yes, Paul.
Can't you hear the ocean?
She can't move forward, despite the urging of her sister Janet, played by Kathy O'Donnell.
Look at this dress. You can't wear black when you're going out on a date. Looks as if you were still, well...
In mourning?
And her boyfriend Martin, played by Richard Carlson. Christine inhabits a world full of shadows and memories, intertwined with some seemingly supernatural occurrences. Is Christine haunted? A mood has been set that suggests a ghost story. But people can be haunted by much more than spirits. They can be haunted by grief, by guilt, by regret. All of these things have a way of lingering on and tugging at the soul. Enter Alexis, a mysterious man Christine meets one night on the beach.
I don't blame you for being frightened.
Played by Turhan Bey, Alexis is smooth-talking and mysterious, and he knows a lot about Christine and Paul.
I saw him dead, and his car in flames.
Alexis, psychic consultant. Oh,
I see you place me in the same category with fortune tellers, snake charmers, and magicians. Oh well.
As someone who's a fan of all things Gothic, English Gothic, Southern Gothic, Noir adjacent Gothic, and films like Hangover Square, Rebecca, The Amazing Mr. X fits nicely into this tradition. It takes the film noir urban setting of gritty streets, shadowy alleyways, and seedy bars, and relocates that familiar aesthetic to the lonely mansion perched on the cliff above a dark, turbulent ocean. The claustrophobic alleyways are replaced with a desolate coastline, crashing waves, and the eerie, sudden whispering winds. All of this intensifies Christine's psychological turmoil because, without giving away too much, this is a film about deception. This is a film about the lies we tell each other and ourselves and how those lies benefit us in the form of comfort or cash.
You are concerned about someone you love. A woman, your sister. Is it your sister?
Yes.
The film's psychological tension and Gothic atmosphere owe their power to the work of director Bernard Voorhouse and cinematographer John Alton.
An atmosphere. You see? A mood like music.
Now, you might not be familiar with John Alton's name, but you are definitely familiar with his work.
I ought to kill you, Eddie.
And his work in film noir is unmatched in films like Raw Deal,
What do you think you're doing?
Border Incident, and The Big Combo. He transforms the amazing Mr. X into a world where darkness becomes a character of its own. And the way he uses light and shadow here help blur the line between reality and illusion. This film is full of very eerie and evocative imagery.
Cold breeze.
Now, as wild as it may seem, all the crystal balls and the communing with the dead, The Amazing Mr. X actually tapped into a deeper cultural anxiety that defined the post-World War II era. Because in the aftermath of the war, there was a significant rise in spiritualism, much like the rise following the American Civil War and World War I, where people sought solace in the belief that they could communicate with the departed. This wave of spiritualism helped spark a trend in the late 40s of films mixing shadowy noir visual elements and crime-driven plots with stories about the supernatural and supernatural con artists.
You can't understand how she could have trusted that man. That man, John Martin.
The skepticism and outright hostility towards spiritualists and spiritualism in general was highlighted in the film's advertising, with one ad boldly announcing, "The greatest racket the world has ever known, the racket that takes advantage of the faith of millions, duping those who want to believe, betraying faith, love, hope. Who are these fakers? What are their methods? All spirit mediums phony. See the picture that rips the veil from the unknown." In fact, the original title for this film was The Spiritualist, and I think that title better conjures an air of serious mystery and titillates all those with an interest in the supernatural. When the film was re-released in 1949, the producers slapped on the title The Amazing Mr. X. Is it more sensational? Absolutely, but it actually undermines the film's deeper themes. I think The Amazing Mr. X retains its power to captivate because it understands that the most haunting mysteries aren't always rooted in the supernatural, but rather in the complexities of human relationships, the psyche, and the soul. Through John Alton's haunting visuals and the dynamic performances led by Lynn Bari and Turhan Bey, the film delves into deeper themes of deception, vulnerability, and that yearning we all have for answers, no matter if we lean towards the spiritual or the skeptical. There are 8 million stories in the cinema cities. This has been one.